SEED Conference 2021, Adapting and Changing Behavior and Practice. Good day, everyone. My name is Adejumo, Abiodun, a lecturer in the Department of Estate Management, Faculty of Environmental Science, Osun State University, here in Nigeria, presenting a conference paper titled President Aspiration for Green Building Futures in Developing Property Market. To introduction. Research has established that building activities contribute largely to global warming and climate change. And according to United Nations Environment Programme and World Green Building Council of 2013, confirmed to us that building industry has been a major contributor to carbon dioxide emission, and also shows that building consume up to 40 to 50% world energy and emit 1/3 of greenhouse gases, and which as a result of this poses a dangerous environmental degradation. And in the recent time, we see developed nation and developing nation of the world experiencing this environmental degradation. Countries like America, Canada, China, Nigeria inclusive, are experiencing what we know as erosion, flooding, fire outbreak, landslide, to mention just a few. And if this environmental degradation is not being contained, it poses a serious problem in the nearest future, and which is even now, and which brought about the emergence of green building. And onto its potential, research has established that green building is actually one of the tools that can be used in achieving environmental sustainability by year 2030. Hence, there is need for adoption of green building in developing nations such as Nigeria, and especially the study area, which is Osogbo. The aim of the study is to examine the aspiration of residents for green building future in Osogbo with a view to providing information for the formulation of green building policy in the country. What is green building? Green building connotes a building that in its design, construction and operation reduces negative impact on the environment and people. And rating agencies like LEED and BREEAM has enumerate different indices for satisfying building as being green. And what are these indices? Energy conservation, water conservation, indoor air quality, to mention just a few. But in the course of this presentation, we will see from the slide other available features of green building. Several studies exist on willingness for adoption for green building, both internationally and locally. However, study that evaluates resident aspiration for green futures, particularly in developing and less developed property market, is limited. Hence, there is need for this study. The method of data analysis. Data were obtained through self-administered questionnaire. The study adopted multi-stage sampling techniques. The study area was stratified into core, transition, suburban, and residential area. After the study identified political wards in each residential zone and purposely selected one political ward in each residential zone. The first building to be sampled was selected randomly, and the subsequent units of investigation were chosen at a uniform interval of every fifth building. All household heads in the selected building were sampled. Resulting from the sampling techniques, 104, 81, and 46 questionnaires were administered respectively in core, transition, suburban, and residential area. Discussion of findings. Table 1, as displayed above, shows the characteristics of residents, which ranges from age of the respondent to the type of accommodation occupied by each of the respondents sampled. Then table 2 reflects or shows the level of respondent aspiration for green futures, which is the main purpose of this paper. And we could see from the slide that The features I earlier mentioned are listed above, which ranges from energy conservation to building, operation, and users' education. I will see from the slide that average relative aspiration index is amounted to 3.10, which means that at this level, the respondents are actually aspiring for this this green building futures. And also from the slide, we could see that features like energy conservation, water conservation, that respondents aspire these features more in their building. And the reason is not being far-fetched. In a country of ours like Nigeria, where electricity supply is epileptic, so people are actually craving for this kind of features because people find alternative way of generating energy for themselves, which is not being safe for the environment, because this include the alternative way. One of the alternative way generated by each respondent were maybe using of generating sets or generating plant, which the smoke will be emitted into the air and causes serious damage into the environment. And we could also see from the slide that features like building, operation, and users education were aspired least of all the features. And the reason is being that majority of the respondents, while they were being even interviewed or sampled, majority does not even know what green building is. So we have to be taking it one step after the other to explain to them what green building is actually is and what is meant to achieve. And in a nutshell, there is need to properly orientate people on the adoption of this green building. And conclusively, we could see that the aspiration of residents were assessed through relative aspiration index, which help us to reflect that features like energy conservation, water conservation attracted high level of relative aspiration index, whereby people want this kind of feature more into their building. And we could also see that material use and conservation and building operation attracted negative deviation about the mean of relative aspiration index. And this is due to the fact that people are not aware of what this concept is all about. In a nutshell, there is need for stakeholders like government agencies and NGO to come around and orientate people and create a form of awareness for people to know what to emphasize on the importance of green building and its futures in order to jointly achieve environmental sustainability by year 2030. Thank you and God bless.